It is Saturday, March 15th. The Merkle root of block number 290788 begins with DBAA110A. Today on Follow the Bitcoin, we are going to be analyzing a pretty famous transaction, or series of transactions that occurred over the weekend of the 8th of March. A pile of cash that is alleged to have belonged to Mt. Gox started doing some really interesting things on the blockchain. Started taking its pile of cash and splitting it into two relatively equal piles of cash. And it kept doing this on and on and on for most of the weekend. So let's, here's the first 4 layers of that. That took about 3 hours to do. It took about 4 hours to do. So let's keep going down the stack. As we can see, there's goes from 20,000 Bitcoin to 10,000 Bitcoin, 5,000, 23, it's going to go to 10 and 13, and then it's going to go to 500, 250, 104. At this depth in the blockchain, 8458, it starts doing something pretty interesting. Starts getting bigger. So let's turn on our ins and outs and see why it got bigger. Obviously, there's more transactions than what we have there. So these started being combined into different bundles. There was 4 inputs on this particular transaction. Now the question at this point, people are always suspecting, oh no, they're putting it through a tumbler. But what's really interesting is if you go up these blockchains, you'll see that eventually most of them wind right back up in this 180,000 Bitcoin pile. But that's not entirely the case all the time. Keep getting these round. It's going to take a while to get up to this height. As you can see, here we are on the 7th. Actually started out the March 6th and 7th. Started doing the recombinations on the 8th. But if you look at the tree, now of course it was binary here, and we just went straight down one path down at this point. But if we keep expanding the tree, eventually we'll hit something interesting. With a couple of these, I'm going to zoom in so I can see when the interesting thing starts to happen. See, these all have 1 input, 2 outputs. It's all completely spent. And these form a nice binary tree pattern. I'd expand the whole thing, but it's 16,000, 32,000 nodes at its widest. Oh, here we go. Here's what I was looking for. So as we go up the chain, we hit this one, and it just rooted itself back in. It was a combination. It recombined itself and was actually part of the binary tree. And as we go back up, eventually we're going to find a binary tree. Here we go. Let me expand this one. This one will root back into here. We find another binary tree that comes from a single input. What's really interesting is, this is a 30,000 binary tree, but the block numbers, 821, 821, these all happened in the same spot. So what was really going on, if you started expanding this tree some, is we were getting 2 separate binary trees that were being split at different levels into roughly equal piles. There's theories as to why it was done that way. But, it's not like he was combining it with a different source, because what we see here is this 180,000 source came from 5 different inputs, and one of these was a 30,000 input that was split into this pile and into this large split tree. Now, the reasons that I believe this came from Mt. Gox, whether it's Mt. Gox controlled or not, I'll get into another broadcast. But this is kind of interesting to look and see what sort of fun things you can find in the block tree if you have the gumption to just dig through these piles of information. There is a tip jar in the comments. There's a tip jar, Jess. If you find these broadcasts useful, send me a tip, and I'll see what more ones I can do. See if I can find any more interesting trails or stories in the blockchain. Thank you.